direction. That's what those arrows mean at the end. You'll also notice something else. They've divided the labeled part of the line into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3. That's very convenient because the fraction that they gave us, 1/3, has a 3 in the denominator. So when given 3 parts, they want you to graph where 1/3 would fall. So I'll clear off the drawings. And on a test or a quiz, you could do this. Okay, you could put a dot at 1/3 or 1/3 of the way to represent 1/3 on the number line. All right. So Aiden, you can type in the chat or you can come off mute. Have you seen something like this before? Yes, yeah. Awesome, awesome. Great. So one of the things about math is if you've seen it before, you'll probably see it again and again in each year of math, and it'll get slightly more tricky, slightly more complicated. But I think this was a good entry problem. Okay. So here's a word problem that uses skills you would learn in middle school, skills that will come up on your end of year tests. I'm going to stop talking and give you a moment to try it on your own first. All right, so here we have a word problem that involves fractions. I'll read the problem out loud and maybe you'll notice something that I'm doing as I read. Give me one moment. So it says Sandeep is helping refill ketchup bottles at his uncle's diner. He has a huge container with 2 gallons of ketchup, which he distributes evenly among 15 bottles. How much ketchup goes in each bottle? Write your answer as a proper fraction or a mixed number. They want to know in gallons how much ketchup would go in each bottle. So you may have noticed that I was annotating or highlighting as I read. Whenever you're given written work, I recommend you do that when you're doing a word problem to help you identify what's the most important information in the problem. Now, unfortunately, this year, the end of grade test, the EOG in North Carolina, takes place on the computer, so you won't be able to annotate, but it's still a great habit to do when you're given paper tests. So I highlighted 2 gallons, distributes evenly, 15 bottles, each bottle, proper fraction, and mixed number, because they gave us a lot of information. I don't want us to get overwhelmed. They asked us to write our answer in proper fraction or mixed number. So I'll give you an example of what a proper fraction looks like. So 1/3, the fraction we were using in our last problem, is a proper fraction. Our numerator or the number on top, 1 is smaller than our denominator or our number on the bottom. 4/3 is a fraction, but it's not proper. It's an improper fraction. And you can turn it into a mixed number by simplifying it. So 1 and 1/3 is equivalent, but it's a mixed number. Okay. So don't let that terminology overwhelm you either. Okay, now before I keep going on and on, Aiden, do you have an answer for this problem? And I see we have one other person who joined. Joshua, welcome. I'm glad you could join us. I'm going to turn on your mic so you can try and speak, or you may have to type into the chat. And I can't hear you, Joshua. I can't hear you. You can try it one more time, or you may just have to type in the chat. Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's a little bit better. Okay. So Joshua, Aiden, have either of you got an answer for this problem here?
I don't know how to do it.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. Aiden, do you have an idea? And if not, that's all right as well. Fifteen out of 2, that's what you got. Okay, okay. Thank you, Aiden. Very, very close. Very, very close to what I would put. So let me clear off my drawings, or part of them, for just a moment. Okay. So they told us we have, let me draw it real quick. We have a huge container. So I'm going to draw this container right here. And I'm going to label it 2 gallons just to remember what it is, how much is in there. 2 gal. Okay. And they say we are going to distribute it evenly among 15 bottles. So it's kind of like going in and we could slice up this into 15 parts. 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to do it all the way, but we can go through and we can slice it up in 15 parts. Okay, so Joshua says 1 out of 15. Aiden says 15 out of 2. So I think it would actually, I see one more person. No, not that one. Okay. Let me see what you typed. The second one, Okay.
Supposedly one out of one is 1 whole and 1/15.
1 whole and 1/15. Okay, so it's actually, it's 2/15. It would be 1/15 if they told us that the container just had 1 gallon of ketchup. You would divide that gallon into 15 parts, but we have to double it because it's 2 gallons of ketchup in that container. So it's 2 gallons divided by 15 bottles. So Aiden, what you said was very, very close. And if you were taking a test or a quiz, you might see that answer choice, but they want to try and confuse you because they know a lot of kids would make a similar mistake, which is completely understandable. So it's 2 out of 15, or 2/15 gallons in each bottle. Any questions on this problem before we go on to our next math problem? You can type in the chat a smiley face if you're good, or you can type out a question mark if you want to talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so Joshua's good, Aiden's good. Awesome, awesome, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to clear all that off. I'm going to go on to our next problem. Okay, so here's another word problem that has to do with some fractions. I'm going to stop talking and let you all work, and type in the chat when you're either you think you've got the answer or maybe you want a hint. So I'm going to be quiet until I see you all type in the chat. I see Josh was got something. I'll keep letting Aiden work. It'll take a couple more minutes. Thank you, Joshua. So you all both got 18, and that is not what I got. So I'm curious, how did y'all get 18?
So when I did the 3 hours is 180 minutes, and there's 10 of them, and if the, and if they spend each time for, and let's say they spend 18 minutes, and for 10 it's 18. The first exhibit, 36 for the second. This for the second before, and then like so on until it goes to 180.
Okay, okay. Now I want you to take a closer look at how they want you to give the answer. Did you see that part of the problem?
Okay.
Yeah, they want you to tell them the answer in hours, not minutes. Was it even easier problem than what y'all were doing?
18 over 100.
Well, it wouldn't be 18 over 100 because you stood that 18 came from the minutes. So start the problem all over from the beginning, but don't turn it into minutes before you finish it. Yeah, so you all were making it more challenging than it had to be. You just had to do 3 divided by 10. You didn't have to convert the 3 hours into minutes and then divide it by 10 because they just wanted us to give them the answer in hours. Now that is something you want to make sure you pay attention to, especially when you're taking a test where you're moving quickly and you may not have a chance to go back and check your answer, because I promise you 18 would be an option on the test because they know people are going to do the same thing y'all did and you're going to select it, and they're trying to see not only do you know how to do the math correctly, but do you know how to pay attention to the close details when you're under pressure. All right. But great job, both of you. Any questions about this problem? You can give me a smiley face if you're ready to move on, or put a question mark if you want to talk about it a little bit more. Okay, Joshua's good to go. Aiden, you good to go? Okay, so I got good question. So what Joshua did, he converted hours to minutes. He said 3 hours. If I want to convert that into minutes, because he thought we were asking for the answer in minutes, you have to multiply by the fact or the conversion factor, 60 minutes in 1 hour. Three times 60 is 180. If 1 hour is 60 minutes, 2 hours is 120 minutes, 3 hours is 180 minutes. And then what Joshua did is and I think I lost my mouse, he divided all of those minutes by 10 because there were 10 exhibits, and that's how he got 18. But you didn't have to do all of that. You could have just stopped at 3 divided by 10. Okay. Good question, Aiden. Good question. But knowing how to convert from different units, hours to minute, minutes to hours, is a very important skill to be able to do. Okay. I will go ahead and got it. Perfect, perfect. Good question. I'm going to clear off my drawings. Good, awesome. Okay, let me clear off these drawings. So I think that we'll do one more math problem and then we'll take a break. So try your best on this problem. I'm going to stop talking, and then you can either type in the chat what you think the answer is, or let me know if you need a hint. Be quiet and let y'all work. Okay, awesome. So you both got the same answer. They said Jasmine is 10 years old. Larry is Y years younger than Jasmine. Choose the expression that shows how many years old Larry is. So we had to pay attention to who we're talking about. We want to know how old Larry is. And younger is a key word. That lets us know what type of operation we need to do. Here we're doing subtraction, here we're doing multiplication, here we're doing division, here we're doing addition. Younger, less, takeaway, those are key words that most of the time can point us in the right direction of subtraction, just like both y'all picked. Awesome, awesome. So that would mean Larry is 3 years old. I don't think I've ever met a 3-year-old named Larry. All right, so that is it for the math for right now. You all can both take a 5-minute break. So Aiden, you're on the East Coast with me, so you can come back at 2:03. And Joshua, you're on the West Coast, so you should come back at 11:03.
Yeah.
Okay, come back at 11:03. All right, so you can grab some water, run to the restroom, and then we will start in 5 minutes. And I'm gonna grab some water as well. So we'll be right back. All right, so you can type in the chat to let me know that you're back, and then we can do the reading portion, and then you all will be done for today. Just let me know that you're back so we can get started. Back, awesome. Thank you, Joshua. We'll give Aiden. Okay, Aiden's back as well. Awesome, y'all.
Wait, what are we gonna do for the remainder of the 10 minutes?
We are about to do some reading comprehension strategies, and then we'll be all done.
So we'll be done at like for me it's gonna be 11:20, but so for me we'll be done at 11:20.
So we finish at 2:30, right? It's 1 hour. We started at 1:30 and it ends at 2:30. For you, that would have been 8:30 a.m.
No, 11:30. But what are we gonna do for like the remaining 10 minutes of the time? Because it says it was 20 minutes.
We will do reading comprehension. So on my clock, we have about 25 more minutes left, right? What time did we start?
We started like 1:30 for you.
We start at 1:30 for me, and we go for 1 hour. We end at 2:30. Yeah. And Joshua, if you have to leave early, you can leave early.
Oh no, I don't have to. I was wondering.
Yeah, I always think your clock is a little earlier than mine. So you can leave whenever you need to. But we'll do the reading comprehension part. So here's the passage. Let me know if you have trouble seeing it. And then type in the chat when you think you've got an answer or when you're done reading. Joshua's got an answer. Okay, you can go to the bathroom, Joshua. That's all right. And Aiden thinks it's the first one. Okay. So I'm going to read it out loud, and you all are welcome to just listen along. So I think with these type of problems, I always recommend you read it more than once, and you read all of the answer choices and the question more than once. They want us to identify the main idea of the passage. The title is Saving Sea Turtles. It says small-scale fishing performed with nets is one of the most common fishing methods used around the world. One of the unfortunate side effects of this method is that sea turtles, which are considered threatened, get caught in the nets along with the fish. Conservation biologists at the University of Exeter in England recently devised a way to prevent these sea turtle deaths, which they tested at a fishery in northern Peru. They found that attaching green LED lights to the nets warned the turtles away, possibly because the lights made the nets more visible. The number of sea turtle deaths was reduced, but the number of fish caught seemed to remain the same. Okay, so what is the main idea? The first one says conservation biologists are researching ways to save the threatened sea turtle population. Okay. The second one, to prevent turtles from becoming caught in fishing nets, conservation biologists attached LED lights to the nets. The third one problem with small catch fishing is the sea turtles get caught along with the fish. Now I'm glad neither one of you said this third option, because this third option ignores some pretty important information. The fact that conservation biologists are working on reducing this problem. Now, my instinct is to say that the first option may not be the best one as well, or either, because this option talks about conservation biologists, but it kind of ignores the rest of the article. It doesn't tell us how they're researching ways. So let me see what, someone typed something in the chat again. So the main idea of the passage, we want to make sure that we include all of the key details. The fact that sea turtles are being harmed by fishing, the fact that conservation biologists are researching to prevent this, the fact that they're using LED lights that seems to be working. Okay, so I'm going to submit that one. So let's try one more like this. And thank you, Aiden and Joshua, for sharing your answers on that first one. Let's try this one together again. Take a moment to read it and then let me know when you think you've got an answer or when you just finished reading and you want to talk about it. Okay, thank you, Aiden. Joshua, are you back yet?
Oh yeah, I just came back.
All right. Have you had a chance to read the passage?
I just came back. I only read the first sentence.
Okay, go ahead, take your time and read it, and then let us know when you're ready.
Wait, how many people are in here?
There is one other person, Aiden. So it's me, you, and Aiden.
Is it two?
Okay, so you think it's two, and I think Aiden said he picked two as well. And I think it's two as well. So since we all agree, I'll go ahead and just click it and see if we're right. Perfect, perfect. All right, so I said that will be the last one we do. That's on main idea. And we're gonna try identifying themes next, okay? We got about 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes left, okay? I'll give you a moment to work on that. And then you can type in the chat when you're ready to talk about it. You do not have to type the answer. Just let me know when you're ready to talk about it, when you've had a chance to read everything. Okay, so Aiden's ready. And then Joshua, let me know when you've had a chance to read everything.
I just have to read it. I just have to get something.
Okay.
I just like don't know the answer.
All right. So this says, read the quotations below from Francis H. Burnett's The Secret Garden. Okay, so most of you will read that book in middle school if you haven't already, or at least when I was in middle school, we had to read it. It says, match each one with the theme or lesson it suggests. Okay, so they gave us 2 lessons. The first one is, a secret can make something feel more valuable. The second lesson, other people can help us see our faults. They've also provided 2 quotations that can be evidence for either lesson, or an example of either lesson. This first quotation said, he did not know in the least what a rude little brute he was. He had lived on a sort of desert island all his life and made his own manners. All right, so this first one, now The Secret Garden is a very old book, so some of the language may feel a little unfamiliar. This first part is saying he didn't know that he was rude. He didn't realize his behavior was rude and unacceptable. He lived on an island all his life and made his own manners. So he wrote all the rules. He decided what was appropriate, what was the best practice, and he had no one else to tell him if what he was doing was right, wrong, or rude. Okay. The second quotation says, Colin had become more and more fixed in his feeling that the mystery surrounding the garden was one of its greatest charms. Nothing must spoil that. This first part says, Colin became more and more fixed in his feelings. That means he became even more stubborn. His feelings became even stronger. And this part, that the mystery surrounding the garden was one of its greatest charms. So he said the fact that no one knew about the garden was one of the reasons he liked it so much, and he wanted nothing to spoil or ruin that. Okay. Now, after I've shared a little bit of information about those quotations, I'll label the lesson. Okay. Here's lesson 1. Here's lesson 2. Here's quotation 1, or quotation A, and quotation B. And you can type in the chat which lessons you think go with which quotation. So you can type 1B, 2A, 2B, 1A, instead of typing out everything. Okay, so Aiden, it looks like we all agree. Okay, so we say that, or at least it looks like you two agree with one another. but I'm not sure if I agree with everyone. Okay, so you all said a secret can make something feel more valuable, goes with the first quotation, and other people can help us see our faults, goes with the second quotation. Okay, would either of you mind sharing? Oh, Joshua says never mind.
Yeah, so I think that other people can, because I think for the first one, he doesn't know what to do. So I think other people can help us. Other
Yeah,
people can help him. And and it's like nothing will spoil that. So the secret can make things feel more valuable.
so I think I would switch it a little bit. Um, so other people can help us see our own faults. The quotation says he didn't know what he was doing was wrong. Sometimes we don't know what we're doing can be hurtful or wrong, and it's helpful for someone else to help us see that. And then here he said, a secret can make something feel more valuable. He felt that the garden was more valuable because it was a secret garden. Okay, good work, good work. I think we have time for about one more. Okay, I'm going to be quiet and let you all work on this on your own. And you can type in the chat which lesson goes with which quotation. Okay, so it looks like you all agree with each other, and I think I agree with you both as well. Yeah, so parents make sacrifices for their children, and being stubborn can prevent us from what we are capable of. Very good. Very good. Okay. So I'm going to clear off all those drawings. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. Let me go back. Wait 1 second. I think we have time for one more question before we wrap up for today. Okay. Going to share my screen. Here we go. All right. And you can type in the chat what you think the answer is, if it's 1 or if it's 2. Okay, thank you, Aiden. Joshua, when you're ready, you can type your answer in the chat.
I got 1.
You got 1. Okay. So I'll read this first together. So it says, a fire pit surrounded with rocks is the safest place for a fire. The forest floor provides everything you need to make a great fire. Dry tinder, kindling, and fuel wood. Small twigs, leaves, grass, or needles are ideal for tinder. Thin sticks work well for kindling, and large branches are perfect for fuel. There are several methods to build a fire, including TP, lean-to, cross, and log cabin. The log cabin style creates a long-lasting fire. To make a log cabin, pile tinder in the center of the pit, then stack kindling around the tinder, creating a square, like the walls of a mini log cabin. Lay more kindling across the top and light the tinder in a couple of places. As the fire gets going, add more kindling, followed by larger fuel wood. So what is the author's purpose as suggested by the text? To explain how to start a fire or to describe what a log cabin fire looks like? Now this one, I'm actually kind of torn because they tell us how to start a log cabin fire, but they don't tell us really what the fire looks like. And I see Joshua picked one, and you all, and Aiden picked one as well. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with one, and I'm gonna click submit. Perfect, perfect. That one was kind of tricky because they used log cabin in the second answer, and that's easy to end up picking the second answer if we're reading too quickly. Okay, so I will go ahead and I will clear off all my drawings. I'm gonna stop sharing, okay? And Aiden and Joshua, thank you all so much for joining me today. Do y'all have any questions about anything we did today? You can type in the chat. I really appreciate you all taking time out of your weekend to work on this. It's going to help you prepare for your end of grade exams and for next year. I hope you have a wonderful week at school. And if you don't have any questions for me, you're welcome to just exit out of the Zoom or close the chat. Close it. Oh, Joshua, I see you raise your hand.
Oh no, I didn't mean to press that.
Okay, that's all right. I hope you have a great week at school, Joshua. I hope to see you next Sunday. Aiden, I hope you have a great week. I hope to see you next Sunday. And you are free to go. All right, bye, y'all.